Hello everyone, my name is MD and welcome back to another video. This is a build tutorial video on the updated simpler Shulker Farm by ending credits. I'm making this video on request of ending. I don't claim credit for this design. With that out of the way, let's get on with the tutorial. This farm is a single dimension farm, meaning it can be built in the end near an end city for easy access to shulkers. You can also build this farm in the overworld, but take care to avoid building the farm in any biome snow golems can't survive. So avoid badlands, deserts, savannas, and their variants, or the nether. You may also want to avoid building this farm in your spawn chunks, as the shulkers in the farm will end up taking spaces in the mob cap. I'm using the Lightmatica mod to show you a material list for the farm, which I will slowly scroll through. You can also find this list in the description. You can use any color of glass, any solid block instead of smooth stone, and any slab and stair variant. These are the same materials packed into shulker boxes. You'll also need these materials to move the shulker to the farm, with the top row for long distance and the bottom row for short distance. Some other useful things are given here. Moss can be any temporary block. It is recommended that you have these when building. For this tutorial, I will be using the end as the build site, but in case you want to build it in the overworld, there will be some tips on how to get the shulker from the end to the farm, which I will mark with chapters. To build the farm, you will want to pick a spot a decent distance away from any other blocks to avoid any shulkers teleporting to blocks outside the farm. There should be no teleportable blocks within 10 blocks of any of the scaffolding floors. I recommend simply building the farm high in the air. Mark where you want the center of the farm to be and count out 8 blocks towards where you want the front of the farm to go and place a scaffolding block. Pillar up with scaffolding until you are at the desired height of the bottom of the farm and bridge out 6 blocks towards the center of the farm. Place a temporary block and then place a 3x3 platform of top slabs like so. Place a ring of stairs around the platform with the solid face of the stairs facing inwards. Opposite the temporary block, place a glass block on top of the stairs below and fill in the rest of the blocks with another ring of stairs. Place a top slab on the outside of the glass. Above the stair opposite the glass, add a solid block with a lever on the outside. Add the golems by placing snow against the solid block so that they drop directly into the golem chamber. Place scaffolding inside the golem chamber like so, and a trapdoor on the inside of the solid block. Place a 3 tall column of scaffolding on the glass, and place 1 more scaffolding at the top level above the golems. Build another ring of stairs, placing stairs on top of every block, and once again make another ring of stairs, and then on the right hand side of the spot above the golems facing the center, add a target block with a redstone torch above, and a top slab away from the center, continuing the stairs as before. Place a fence gate on the scaffolding above the golems and a stair opposite. On the lever side, bridge out with 3 top slabs, then turn and bridge 5 more blocks. Turn again, going 10 blocks each time, and repeat, forming a square of slabs around the golem chamber. Drop down to your scaffolding tower and remove the temporary block. And extend the pillar up 7 more blocks, until it's 1 block above the level of the top slabs. Place scaffolding around the ring of slabs, and extend it 3 additional blocks on each side, forming a 17 by 17 square of scaffolding. Fill in the center of the ring, leaving the 2 blocks above the stairs opposite the target, as well as the block above the tower scaffolding open. Place a bottom slab above the redstone torch and a stair next to it, with the solid face facing the inside of the farm. Place the armor stand on the center scaffolding, then place a solid block above the stair and a temporary block above the fence gate. Put a piston facing the solid block behind it and use a lever on the back to power it. This will align it to the edge of the block. Now break the solid block and temporary block. You can check this by pressing F3 and B to turn on hitboxes. The armor stand will be at the edge of the block. Go to your scaffolding pillar and extend it 2 blocks upwards. Place a bottom slab next to it, leaving an air block between the slab and your scaffolding platform, and fill in the layer with bottom slabs, leaving the 2x2 center that has no scaffolding. Place a downwards facing piston above the armor stand and a solid block next to it, and a lever on the side of the block. Add a fence gate below the solid block, then pillar up to the slab layer, breaking any temporary blocks used. You'll now need to build an observer clock facing into the block above the fence gate. You can do this by breaking a 2x3 area of slabs behind the piston and solid block, away from the center. Place an observer on the side of the piston facing left. Add another 2 observers looking at that. Place another observer facing right, and 2 more looking at that. The clock should start pulsing, and the piston and gate will fire. You can temporarily disable the noise by turning the lever on. You're now ready to fill in the second scaffolding layer of the farm. Since scaffolding can't be supported by bottom slabs, you'll need to add some supports. This can easily be done by replacing some slabs with glowstone. An easy and cheap pattern of supports is to place supports 3 blocks from each corner and then spaced by 4 block gaps like so. Now fill in the platform with scaffolding, leaving the single block above the golems empty. This will be the path that the bullets take through the farm. Extend your scaffolding pillar 3 more blocks and fill in the area above the scaffolding with bottom slabs as before. Leave an air block in between layers. Leave the block above the golems empty. Repeat the same supporting block layout as before, except you add 1 more in the center. Fill in a third layer of scaffolding, again leaving the block above the golems empty. You should be able to see all the way to the bottom fence gate. Extend your scaffolding pillar 3 more blocks. Place 2 hoppers facing into it and then place 5 solid blocks towards the center of the farm. Continue the row with 2 temporary blocks and a solid block. On both sides of the final block, build 2 rows of 7 blocks each, widening the area from the center to the hoppers into a 5 by 10 platform by placing solid blocks 2 blocks on both sides. Add top slabs on the outer edge of the solid blocks, then fill in the rest of the ceiling with bottom slabs. Replace the topmost scaffolding of your pillar with a chest, and place another next to it, forming a double chest. Place glass above it and buttons on the inner and outer sides of it. Place 2 rows of 9 solid blocks along each side of the central channel, stopping 1 block before the end of the solid blocks. Break the 2 temporary blocks and place a trapdoor on the side of the block above the scaffolding. You should be able to see the fence gate through the block in front of the trapdoor. Place 2 more solid blocks on the outside of the blocks next to the button. For the 4th scaffolding layer, the support pattern does matter. You should avoid placing any supports within 8 blocks of the grinder, with the exception of the rows of scaffolding that will be placed on the solid blocks, which we will slab over to prevent teleporting. To avoid placing any supports closer to the chest than the solid block line, all you have to do is on the side opposite the chest, add 3 glowstone like so, 3 blocks from the edges and 4 blocks apart. Now fill in the platform with scaffolding, with the exception of the central channel and the line 1 block from the edge near the chest. On the side of the solid block wing, add a top stair on both sides and build a staircase 3 blocks up, ending on a top stair. Repeat this on the other side. Place top slabs on the sides of all the top stairs, with an extra one on the topmost stair. Place 5 scaffolding like so on the stair and slab, with 1 more top slab between them. Place 2 stairs each on the solid block wings like so, with their flat faces towards the slabs. Add levers on these faces and flick them on. On the top slabs next to the glass, place an activator rail and then powered rails on both sides. Temporarily place a powered rail on the glass to slope the activator rails, then break it. Place powered rails on all the remaining top slabs of the staircase, except the topmost where you place a temporary rail. Break the temporary rail and replace it with the bottom slab to stop the minecart running away. The result should look something like this. Place slabs on the top of the remaining solid blocks and along the top of the adjacent scaffolding on the sides. At the same level, using a temporary block, place top slabs above the length of the central channel and place bottom slabs above, leaving the space between the stairs. Now fill in the ceiling above the remainder of the scaffolding by placing bottom slabs 2 blocks above the scaffolding as before. Now we're going to place the second armor stand, which needs to be aligned against the edge of the block as before. Unfortunately, we can't directly align the armor stand as it will get stuck in the hopper. Instead, we have to pre-align the armor stand standing over the edge of a block. We also need to push a glass block into the armor stand to avoid the shulkers suffocating. Place a temporary block between the stairs and above the slab diagonally up. Place the armor stand on the lower one and add more temporary blocks above the glass and outwards. Place a slab next to the stand and a piston facing into it behind. Add a button on the back of the piston and press it. Remove the temporary blocks and the armor stand should drop in. Move the piston a block lower and push a glass block in. Place the final glass block above the first, putting a slab above and a button to the side. At the top of the farm, go to the rear corners. Count 5 blocks from the edge and place a support block. Place a pillar or 4 scaffolding and then climb to the top, and extend the scaffolding 2 blocks in each direction to create 5x5 pads, then join the two. Finally, place a ceiling or bottom slabs 2 blocks above, with one air block between the scaffolding and the slabs. For the front teleport pad, go to the slabs above the scaffolding and break the slab 4 blocks from the end. Place a tower of 7 scaffolding on top. At the top of the tower, extend the scaffolding by 3 blocks in each direction. Create a 7x7 platform. Place a ceiling of bottom slabs 2 blocks above, with one air block between the scaffolding and the slabs. In the middle of the roof, replace the slab with glowstone and add the slab above it. Before you get a shulker into the farm, remember to turn the sleeper at the center off so that the piston starts firing, and place a minecart on each of the slopes of rails in the front. As for how to get a shulker into your farm, we have IanXOfour to give you some helpful tips. Over to you, Ian.
Hi, this is IanXOfour. Despite their reputation as being difficult mobs to handle, with sufficient care and planning, it is possible to move shulkers without any issues. That said, mistakes are always possible, so before you embark on collecting shulkers, it's worth bringing along a few splash potions of healing or regeneration, just in case your shulker gets damaged. Potions of invisibility can also make it easier for you to work with shulkers. The easiest way to transport shulkers is by minecart. There are a number of easy spots to collect shulkers from an end city, and shulkers can be collected by passing a minecart rail directly beside them, the same as any other mob. For an easy method for collecting shulkers from an end city, check out my video for an instant Shulker Farm. In general, the basic approach is to lay out rails alongside the shulker from a concealed position, or using an invisibility potion, and then sending a minecart past the shulker. Unlike most other mobs, a shulker's collision box extends beyond the minecart's collision box, making it impossible for the player to push a minecart with a shulker in it. To get around this, you can push the minecart indirectly using other minecarts. Furnace minecarts are particularly useful here, and are a great way for moving shulkers long distances. Just make sure that you have enough space to place a minecart behind the shulker. For transporting shulkers to the main island, or for taking a shulker to the overworld, it's recommended that you find an end city near an end gateway. Shulkers sent through an end gateway in the outer islands will usually end up on the obsidian platform at the main island. To send the shulker to the overworld, the shulker can be ejected into the exit portal using an activator rail into a corner on the left-hand side of the portal. In all cases, it's recommended that you prepare all your rail lines in advance, as building rails on the fly with a shulker around can be a painful experience. You can check out my video for a detailed guide on how to prepare rail lines. However, if you find things go off track, a nice trick to get your shulker back on the rails is to use a wall to allow you to place a rail underneath the shulker. This is where invisibility potions may be particularly useful if you have them. Just remember that potion effects wear off instantly once you go through the exit portal.
If you can't find a city near a gateway, an alternative is to use flying machines. I'll show you how to make a simple one for this purpose, which you can ride along safely and stop when needed. To start, figure out where you need to go. Mark the coordinates of both where the shulker currently is and where you need to go, whether it's an end gateway, the main island, or the farm location itself. Then take note of how you can get there by moving in straight line. Head to your shulker location and build the following flying machine nearby. Pillar up 2 blocks and place a slime block. Perpendicular to where you need to go, place another slime block. Add walls on either side and a rail and detector rail above. Opposite the direction you need to go, place a sticky piston facing away and put a minecart on the detector rail so it extends. Place slime next to the sticky piston and an observer on it like so. Build a plus shape of slime attached to the sticky piston with 2 extra at the end. Place 2 glass blocks on these slime blocks. Add a sticky piston facing the rail segment and an observer like so. Send the shulker into this holding cell while invisible, and close it up. Then hop in the minecart and ride it onto the regular rail, and the flying machine is off. To stop the machine when you need to, simply ride the cart onto the detector rail. When you have the flying machine at the destination, just lay some rails to where it needs to go, then break the slime to send it off. Once you have a shulker in the vicinity of the farm, all you have to do is eject the shulker somewhere within range of the farm, but out of range of any other teleportable blocks. The easiest way to do this is using a powered activator rail within a few blocks of the outside of the farm. Just make sure the last section of your rail line is teleport proof. Before you insert the shulker into the farm, it is recommended that you make sure the shulker is healed to full health. A single splash potion of regeneration will heal a shulker to full health over about 30 seconds or so. Once the shulker is in the farm, it will teleport through the farm until it is collected by the minecarts and deposited in the grinding chamber. The shulker will then attempt to teleport into the breeding cell, though don't be alarmed if this doesn't happen right away, as this process can take up to several minutes. To start the farm, simply turn on the lever at the bottom. It can take about 5 to 10 minutes to get to full speed, and you will start to see the first shells at that point. The farm will run as long as it's loaded. If you build the farm in the end, you'll have to have a player load it. However, if you build it in the overworld, you can use a portal chunk loader. I will leave a link to an extremely easy chunk loader design by Dark in the description. To turn off the farm, simply turn off the lever. It will take some time for the farm to completely die down, as the bullets will remain and the shulkers in the grinder will still be aggroed at the golems. However, over time these shulkers will die off, the farm will come to a complete stop. If you want to speed up this process, you can simply unload the farm, which will instantly de-aggro the shulkers. So there will still be some shulkers left due to residual bullets. However, there is no need to turn off the farm when not in use, other than to stop any additional drops from piling up, and you can simply unload the farm when you don't want to use it. That's all for today's video. If you have any questions, need help, or just want a chill server to hang out, you can join the NoobTech Discord server linked in the description. I would like to thank Ending for letting me make this video and being a great help in making it.
We would also like to thank IanXOfour for his help with this video, but also his amazing community that has spawned a lot of interesting and important discussions on Shulker Farm development. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to Asher and Viphre and everyone else who helped me with the original development of the scaffolding Shulker Farm concept. And of course, big thanks to Dark, whose farm this design is based on.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.